I had to think a lot about what it meant to be a monarch and what it meant to walk open-eyed and with your chin up into that sophisticated, dangerous, luxurious prison.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm sorry to disturb, but it's the Princess of Wales.
Why? What's she done now?
Have some very sad news to bring you.
Diana, Princess of Wales, has died after a car crash in Paris.
The Prime Minister, Tony Blair,
Is about to make a statement.
Princess Diana touched the lives of so many others. She was the people's princess.
No member of the royal family will speak publicly about this.
Diana's no longer a member of the royal family.
What are you talking about?
Charles, this is a private matter. We do things in this country quietly, with dignity.
Will someone please save these people from themselves?
It's got to be very difficult to play somebody that's still living, still there, and as opposed to, obviously, Elizabeth I, is not around anymore. But Tony Blair and Queen Elizabeth are. And so, did you have any trepidation going into this project? Like, I don't know if this is a good idea.
I mean, it was the most intimidating prospect for me to play this role, and luckily I bumped into Michael just very soon after I'd heard that I was going to play it, and I'd seen Michael and the deal, and he and David Morrissey were just absolutely brilliant in that piece of work. And I went up to him and said, I introduced myself and said, we're going to be working together, and I'm so frightened, and do you have any tips for me? And he very, very wisely said, start work on the voice as soon as you can. And he'd worked with a brilliant voice coach called Penny Dyer on the deal, and he said, get with Penny as soon as possible and get to a point where, the voice feels natural to you. You don't feel like you're just putting on a funny voice, and do that as soon as possible. And that was the best advice I could have been given, and I took it.
Can I ask you, what's the reaction in England to this film? We know what the reaction so far in America, which is like thumbs up, but what is the reaction in England?
Well, we were talking before we came in, and because I've just come back from England yesterday, and I've been amazed by how, again, universally praised it is and enjoyed as a film. In Britain we can be quite cynical about especially our own homegrown product, and especially when it's a film about people that this film is about. I was fully expecting the British audience to be much more cynical about it.
Normally this is the kind of thing you would see done as satire, yet this is not satire in any way, shape, or form. It's a human story, which we've never really seen that human touch put on this queen before. And what surprised you most in your research about playing Queen Elizabeth, in learning about her?
It's so hard because your work is to try and extricate the human being from the institution. And in fact, she's melded her character, her personality, her psychology is so deeply melded with the institution that she is a part of that it's really hard to pull her out of it. So to do that, I had to go back to what she was like when she was a child, before she knew she was going to be queen. And so actually the majority of my thought and my sort of research settled upon the Queen up to the Second World War, to find out what that little girl was like. And I guess the surprising thing was to learn that the little girl was very much like the Queen of today. And in fact, she actually has been utterly consistent.